The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Retold by Fiona Chandler, illustrated by Polly Bernardin. A task for Max. Max had spent all morning cleaning the sorcerer's workshop, and he still hadn't finished. Wash this, polish that, I'm fed up with it, he thought. How will I ever learn to be a sorcerer like Sticklewick? He moaned. He never lets me do any magic. Just then Max heard footsteps on the stone staircase. Oh, that's him. Back to work. A moment later, Sticklewick appeared. Max, I have to go into town, he announced, waving a long shopping list. I used the last of the dragon's eggs yesterday and we're out of goblin's toenails. Maybe I'll get a tube of Pixie's earwax too. Max was astonished. Sticklewick had never left him alone in the castle before. Yippee! A free afternoon, thought Max. I can explore the dungeons and swim in the moat, he thought, or just sit in the sun and do nothing at all. There's plenty to do while I'm out, Sticklewick went on. For a start, this floor could do with a good scrub. Look, I've just stepped on a toadstool. But fill up the water tank first. It's almost empty. Max groaned. It always took hours to fetch enough water to fill the tank. And it was such hard work. Rats, there goes my free afternoon, thought Max. That should keep him out of mischief, thought Sticklewick.
Who is Sticklewick?
Sticklewick is the sorcerer. Oh, and one more thing, Sticklewick added. Don't try any spells. He frowned. Or I'll turn you into a tadpole. He threatened, his bushy eyebrows bristling. With that, there was a flash of light and a puff of purple smoke. The sorcerer was gone. Max's plan. Well, don't just stand there, croaked a little voice. You have work to do. It was Tabitha, Sticklewick's toad. Oh, hop it, said Max crossly. I've been working all morning. I need a rest first. There's no need to be rude, said Tabitha, hopping onto a broomstick. Max didn't reply. Seeing Tabitha perched on the broom had given him a brilliant idea. Last week, Sticklewick had cast a spell on a broomstick. It had come to life and done everything the sorcerer asked. I'm sure I can remember the words, Max thought, concentrating. How hard can it be? He thought. You're up to something, said Tabitha. You'd better not try any spells. You heard what Sticklewick said. Don't be such a spoilsport, said Max. What harm can it do? Anyway, he won't know. Max closed his eyes and thought for a moment. Taking a deep breath, take a deep breath. He said the magic words. Root and branch of old oak tree, bring this broom to life for me. Dano, can you repeat after me? Let us repeat after Max. Root and branch of old oak tree, bring this broom to life for me. All at once the broom began to twitch. It shook and it shuddered. Then Slowly it grew 2 skinny arms and 2 skinny legs. Wow, I did it! Now, Max ordered the broom, fetch me some water and be quick about it. The broom ran off. In no time, Max heard it coming, tap, tap, tap down the steps. Tap, 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 tap down the steps. It poured the water into the tank, and set off for more. Feeling very pleased with himself, Max flopped down in the sorcerer's chair. Time for a snooze, he yawned. Soon he was fast asleep. Bzzz, bzzz. Trouble ahead. Max woke up to find Tabitha hopping on his lap. What is it? He mumbled sleepily. Quick! Croaked Tabitha. The tank is overflowing and the broom won't stop. Max jumped to his feet. Water was sloshing over the sides of the tank and the broom was clattering down the steps again. Stop, he shouted. That's enough. But the broom took no notice. Streams of water poured across the floor. Oh no, now what? Said Max. Great stuttering sorcerers, just say the spell, begged Tabitha. What spell? Asked Max, puzzled. Then he remembered. Of course, he needed a spell to make the broom stop. Oh no, he groaned. I don't think I actually know it. Oh boy, sighed Tabitha. By now the water was ankle deep and still the broom was fetching more. I know, cried Max, splashing across the floor. I'll look in Sticklewick's spell book. Let's see. Max flicked through page after page.
Mama, you don't flick after.
This is hopeless, he wailed. There are thousands of spells here. I'll never find the right one. What am I going to do? You could chop the broom up, said Tabitha helpfully. Good thinking, said Max. He grabbed a hatchet, lifted it high above his head and swung it down hard. With a loud crack, the broomstick split into 2. Double trouble. That was close, said Max with a sigh of relief. Thanks, Tabitha. You're brilliant. Tabitha, what's wrong? Look at the broom. Max's eyes opened wide. The 2 pieces of the broom were moving. And each piece was growing new arms and legs. Faster than ever, the brooms raced off for more water. I'm in big trouble now, thought Max glumly. In no time, the brooms were back sloshing water everywhere. Max tried to stop them. He tried tripping them. He even tried to sit on them. But it was no use. I give up, said Max miserably. Sticklewick is going to be furious. I wonder what it's like to be a tadpole, thought Max, thinking Sticklewick would be so angry that he would turn him into a tadpole. Meanwhile, the brooms were still dashing in and out, up and down the steps. All the time the water was getting deeper. Soon it reached Max's knees, then his waist, then his chest. I wish I could swim. Splash, splosh, the brooms flung a few more pails of water into the broom. Waves washed across the workshop. Tabitha shot past trying to surf. Ooh, oops. I warned you not to try any spells, she spluttered, spitting out water. Maybe next time you'll listen to me. If this goes on, there won't be a next time, muttered Max desperately. Help, he yelled, climbing onto the table. Somebody help! But he knew there was no one around to hear. Sorcerer to the rescue. Suddenly there was a loud pop. Sticklewick appeared in a shower of green sparks. What on earth? Before he could catch his breath, the two brooms flew down the steps and flung yet more water into the workshop. Galloping goblins, cried the sorcerer. What has that boy been doing? Quickly he raised his wand and spoke the magic words. Eye of bat and tooth of boar, return to how you were before. Eye of bat and tooth of boar, return to how you were before. In a flash, one of the brooms vanished. The other whizzed across the room and stood neatly to one side. Finally, with a loud glug, 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 the water began to drain away. Nervously, Max climbed down from the table. His knees felt weak. I'm in for it now, he thought. Sticklewick glared at him. Well, what have you got to say for yourself? I'm really sorry. Not good enough, roared the sorcerer. I warned you. Now it's tadpole time. Max dived behind the water tank. Please, please don't turn me into a tadpole, he cried. I won't ever meddle with magic again. No, you won't, snapped Sticklewick. Tadpoles can't do simple spells, and they certainly can't do tricky ones. He paused and thought for a second. Max didn't dare move. That was quite a difficult spell you did. Just then Tabitha spoke. He might be a good sorcerer one day. Maybe you should start teaching him magic. He is your apprentice after all. Maybe, said Sticklewick, but first he cleans up here. He turned to Max. And if you ever disobey me again, you'll be frog spawn in the moat. From that day on, Max was a perfect pupil. Soon he learned how to do spells properly, and when he grew up, he became a great sorcerer, although he was always a little afraid of broomsticks. The end. The tale of the Sorcerer's Apprentice has been around for almost 2,000 years. It was first written down by a Greek named Lucian of Samosata. This version is based on a poem composed in 1797 by a German writer, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. This story is dedicated to Daniel Dessau, an adorable darling, a compassionate cutie, and a helpful, kind boy by his mother,
Griselda.